Welcome to the Investing Bros. I am definitely T Shroom, and I am very, very excited because we've got some interesting news. We've got some breaking news on the jobs numbers front. That's U.S. economic data coming in, and we're going to be looking at that here in just a second. We've also got some Bitcoin charts to pull up. Looking good on the 4-hour. Looks to be breaking out. Bitcoin does. This is really nice to see here. We're going to get into all this and more here on the Investing Bros. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are tuning in for the first time, maybe you have been brought into crypto by a friend or family, you are in the right place. We try to bring you all grounded crypto news and technical analysis. What's technical analysis? Well, it's looking at these crazy, colorful charts. That's technical analysis for those of you who've never opened a chart like this on TradingView.com. So we'll be getting into all that and more here, but let's start with the jobs numbers. And the news is brought to you by who we trust, which is iTrust Capital. Go ahead and check out the link in the description of this video for a free $100. I never mentioned that because I enjoy talking about the tax advantage of holding your crypto in an IRA through iTrust Capital, but you also get a free $100 when you sign up through the link. So don't hesitate. You have everything to gain and nothing to lose by going ahead and clicking that link for iTrust Capital today. Make it happen just like the American jobs data made it happen today for Bitcoin. Unfortunately, it's bad news. But here, in this case, bad news is good news for investors. U.S. job growth totaled 175,000 in April, much less than expected, while unemployment rose to 3.9%. Now, I'm going to get more into the details here, but for the noobs, for folks who have never really tracked economic data before, how can bad news be good news? Here's why. Jerome Powell over at the Fed has a dual mandate. One, to keep the jobs good, to keep the job numbers, the unemployment rate at a certain level, right? And keep it low generally. And then the other is to keep inflation at bay as well, around at 2%. Okay, so when that isn't met, they have to do something. When those dual mandates are not met, they have to take action. They have to employ one of their tools that they have in the toolbox over at the Fed to correct for those. So here we have jobs going ahead and ticking higher. I've got a chart pulled up for you here. This is, let's go to the beginning of January just to give you guys a little bit of a reference here of the timing. Okay, so January is right here. So since January, we've ticked up, and we've been ticking up all throughout 2023. And now we're kind of in a downtick, but it's a lower high, or I'm sorry, it's a higher low, right? Which isn't what you want to see if you are working over at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, where your job is kind of to help boost employment, right? If you're concerned with people being unemployed, this is not good. But if you're an investor in the current macro climate, this is good. Why? Because now Jerome Powell has to employ one of those tools. I'm using the word employ. Could be a little bit confusing for some people. He has to use one of those tools that he has available to him over at the Fed to correct this. And what is that going to be? More than likely, cuts sooner than what the market is thinking. Now, T-Shroom, does that mean we're going to get cuts in 2024? I'm not saying that. I think that it is unlikely, in my opinion, that we see rate cuts definitely before November, right? And I don't think that it would really be all that much crazier for us to not get cuts in the year of 2024 in general. This data, however, right, this job number is showing that the Fed may start to pay attention to the unemployment rate, as it is ticking up and up and up, and this latest print is a miss for the economy. So let's get into the details. Non-farm payrolls increased by 157,000 in the month. On the month, below 240,000 estimate from the Dow Jones Consensus. The unemployment rate ticked higher to 3.9. What was the expectation? 3.8. Okay, so it came in hot. It came in hot versus the economist expectation of what the unemployment rate was going to be. That is not that much more. I think the market is going to take this in stride and say risk on within a reasonable amount. It's not going to go crazy. You're not going to see Apple up 5% today, right? But, well, you might. But this could be very interpreted as, okay, risk on because Powell is going to have to cut maybe even sooner than November, but we'll see, right? The market has to digest this, has to figure it out for itself. Average hourly earnings rose 0.2% from the previous month and 3.9% from a year ago, both below consensus estimates and an encouraging sign for inflation. So it's an encouraging sign for inflation because as wage growth reduces, right, there's less buying power out in the economy to go ahead and purchase things. Now, you might be listening and be like, T-Shroom, it seems like you're so cold. You don't care about the people who are unemployed. I do. I do care about the people who are unemployed. However, in the investing world, right, there is a bit of distance that you have from the cold, hard facts of these statistics that are coming out and the actual people that they represent. So, if you can't hang with that, that's all right, right? But over time, you grow to understand how these mechanics really work and how people are going to be okay. So let's move on into some more of the stories here. But before we do, let's get onto the charts because Bitcoin is going to gangbusters here. We just got a wick up to 61, past 61, didn't we? Yeah, we just got a wick. Let's go down to the hourly. Now T-Shroom, I very rarely go down to the hourly charts here on the 9 a.m. stream, but this is exciting, right? This is a big move here. Let's see what kind of move from this level of support up. We've got almost a 3.8% move here on Bitcoin from support to wick. This is exciting, right? This could be potentially the breakout we've been looking for. Now, yesterday's show, I asked the question, is this a bull trap, right? Is it a bull trap? And I think that question still stands, right? Because one of someone in the chat said you can't have a bull trap until you have a breakout because the breakout is the trap. And at that point in time, we hadn't really had a breakout. I was asking this question preemptively. Now the question is the breakout legit, right? Which is kind of the same question of, is it a bull trap? So let's go back, let's look, let's get a little bit more information here from the charts. On the 1 hour, this is probably not the best time frame to analyze it, but this is an exciting moment. So let's take it all in. Let's look at the oscillators here. Lux Algo saying money flow is kind of ticking positive here. We've got a nice jerking motion to the upside after a lower low here, and a tick into the sub 50 range here for the Lux Algo oscillator matrix, which would be bearish, but a quick resumption to the upside and the potential to put in, not a potential now, this is a higher high here on the hyperwave. This would be bullish. This would be interpreted as bullish. However, this is just the hourly, right? The hourly chart is not really where investors are looking, definitely where traders are looking, and then on the time scale. All right, let's look at the MACD. Probably going to say something similar, and indeed it does. Right, you had generally kind of bearish momentum as the green histograms decelerated here, starting on May 2nd, and then even got into the red. But now we've seen a big jerking motion up to the upside as Bitcoin may be bucking off the bulls here and saying, thank you very much, we're breaking out. We've got the line of support that we wanted after a test lower, an oversell, and now we're going off to the hills. We're going back to 75, baby. We're hitting all-time highs. That could be what we're seeing. However, it could be a bull trap. There are many levels of resistance that we have to get through before we're even talking about new all-time highs. So let's go back out to the 4 hour and talk about them. Another very important line of resistance that we were able to cross, and you could even say this was the line of support that really ticked us off here, ticked us higher, was the midline of the Bollinger Band, that 20-day moving average on the 4 hour. So check it out here. You can see Bitcoin got up above there, finding support on the downtrending line of now support. I would say this is a pretty convincing retest and movement higher. So now that we've done that, then Bitcoin came down, spent a little bit of time down below and closed below that midline of the Bollinger Band. So that would be a failed retest and movement higher. But then we got an entire candlestick, this little guy right here, printed above that midline of the Bollinger Band, signaling to investors, okay, there's something here. This isn't a failed breakout. This is a potential for a breakout. This retest has been confirmed as support, both on this downtrending line of what was resistance down here, and now is support up here, right? So that is good. That is bullish. Not only that line, but also this Bollinger Band, which again is the 20-day moving average down the 4 hour. So bullish. It's a bullish moment. How long will the moment last is the question. And let's talk about the next lines of resistance that we could be running into here. I want to chat. I want to hear what you all think. So let me know. Is this a good... look, this is a legitimate question, right? I know about as much as anyone else looking at the charts. I'm just giving you guys a real-time analysis. But I want to know, what is you all's bias? Do you think that we are going up from here? Is this the breakout we've been waiting for to kind of get out of this sideways movement and make our way back up to 74 to print an all-time high? Or is this a bull trap? Or maybe is it something in between? Maybe is it just like a crab trap, right? To trap the crabs that are really just going to be moving Bitcoin sideways. Let me know in the chat. I'm going to be rotating into the chat here just a second to see what you all have to say, but let's finish it up here. What is the next level? We've already pretty much gotten to it, but we have so far been rejected off of it at 61.3, right? 61.3, I believe, is a monthly candlestick where I got this one from. Yes. So if you go back to 2021, these were the candlestick closes on the monthly chart from October 2002 and November 2021. Not October 2000. October 2021 and November 2021. That's what this 61.3 level is. Let's zoom back in to the 4 hour. So that's the number to beat right now. My guess is that because we've had a nice movement to the upside, meaning there wasn't much resistance in here, that we found resistance, and now we're going to come back and see where we can find support. We may find support here. There was a candlestick close right here, and also it was support. So we may find some support here around 60,000. Nice psychological number. That makes sense as well. I would expect that, to be honest with you. So this 4 hour candle, I believe, has some, this has a decent, it's almost 3 hours left in the candle that we're in right now, this green one right here. So once that's over, we may see it come back down to 60,000, or we may see it print, somewhere where it's at right now, and then the next candle would come back down and find 60,000, and that's okay, right? If we retrace back to 60,000, that's good. That's almost kind of what I'm looking for from a price structure standpoint, as long as we're keeping the integrity of this trend here. And then we come up, we retest 61.3, and then we move higher. From there, what is the next level? We might as well go ahead and ask down here on the 4 hour. Let me turn off the Bollinger Bands and get the crosshairs going. Let's take a look. So I think the next significant level from there, I want to go to the daily to see as well, but it's more than likely this downtrending line of resistance. And if we get it back above that, then that's very bullish for Bitcoin, right? That would be very bullish because this is a trend line. This isn't just a historic level. So that would be getting the attention of like more short-term swing traders, getting back up above this, right? But getting back up above, which if we hit it today would be 63.5, right? If we languish and kind of move sideways, it could be as low as 61.6, that level. But in any case, what we really want to see is a eventuality where we flip 61.3 as support, and then we make a move higher, and then flip this downtrending level of resistance into support, and then we get up to that level that I really like, and you all seem to like as well, at 64.8 level, and then we flip that in support. Now that's a very bullish case, right? I think that the market is going to be probably not that swift to the upside. Could be. That's why I just drew it out. But more than likely, what I would expect is probably more rejections, tests slower, coming back. I mean, 60,000 is a very big psychological number. So I think with each test of these levels, we could get a test back to 60,000, something like this instead, just because of how significant that 60,000 level is psychologically. All right, there's a couple of cases for you all to consider. Let's jump over to the chat and see what is crack-a-lackin' with the bros. Kyle Field said, we'll hit 67K, then see some pullback. Okay, that's very bullish. So thinking we'll get all the way up to 67K and then see a pullback. So we're seeing some bullishness in the chat already. El Thoro said, yo, bros, almost late to the party. Bitcoin 61K, baby. That's right. We're getting it. We're making it happen here. Blackie Chan said rejection at 64 and going back down. Rejection at 64. So 64.8 would be up here. This is one of those monthly candle levels that I've got drawn out from the 2021 bull market. A rejection at 64 clean, meaning just 64 even. Yeah, I could see that. I could see, well, especially if we're going to come down. I mean, it would be today if we jumped up and found resistance off of this downtrending line of resistance. That would put us at 64 and then a rejection. Was that? Yeah, and that's exactly what Blackie Chan said. So that's an interesting scenario. Ion said, not to be bearish. Great way to start a sentence. Not to be bearish, but I still think we are many months away from a pivot. So anything seems like a bull trap until then. Okay. Right. And don't get, if you're newer to crypto, don't get too caught, and new to trading, don't get too caught up on the trap of it all. Don't feel like someone's going to take your money, right? You only have your money taken if you sell, right? And they don't take all of it. They just take what you lost, right? So when it comes to thinking about things in terms of traps, it just helps to consider it in that way from a market psychology standpoint. Do the bulls feel trapped? Do the bears feel trapped? That can give us a little bit of insight on what price might do next. But don't think that anybody's getting actually trapped and hacked or scammed or anything like that. That's not what's going on here. So you can do some more of your own research there to figure out exactly what bull traps and bear traps mean. Fade and TradFi said, T-Shroom, I'm selling a kidney to ape in more. It should work out, right? As long as you have no more than what you can afford to lose invested, then selling a kidney may not be a bad way to finance some further purchasing of crypto. Look, if you live in America, you're in a free country, you can do whatever you want to do. If you're in a lot of other countries, you can do whatever you want to do. Do I recommend selling your organs? No, I do not. I think that that's probably not the best way to finance your investments here. ANTR went ahead and said it, dropped the bullish term. He said, we are so back. Let me know. Do you agree with that? I cut off the air horns just short because I don't know if I agree with that just yet. Editing team over at a bullish logo said GM. Very nice to see. Drew XRP said, you can afford to lose one kidney. Just saying. I don't know if I can. We'll see. Fade and TradFi said, that's what they say. We can spend our money any way we want. Not if Elizabeth Warren has anything to do with it. She's not in the news today, by the way. We covered her yesterday. She was saying that the Iranian Bitcoin mining infrastructure is it's overpowered. It needs to be nerfed. It's too lucrative, she said. All right, well, we've got a lot of news here, and I haven't gone out to the daily yet. So let's go out to the daily chart and see what's crack-a-lacking. And as you can see, obviously, this descending triangle is becoming much more relevant. Descending triangles and ascending triangles, I think, are neutral patterns, I believe, meaning it's kind of a 50-50 that they're going to break out one way or another. Considering we've gotten a fake breakout to the downside so far and a resumption within this descending triangle, what does that mean? If this is a fake breakout, where are we likely to have the real breakout to the upside? So we'll see. And considering it's Bitcoin in a bull market, that would make sense, right? What also makes sense, just for folks who are just tuning in, right? What also makes sense is this pullback in general, because we've had this gigantic move higher, right? All through here, yes, we had a couple of pullbacks, but generally, right, we had this pullback here of 21%, call it 22, and now we've had this like kind of similar one of 23, call it 24%, right? And we've needed those. Just because price is moving down doesn't mean that the overall thesis has to be bearish. This is still a very bullish trend, very bullish trend. The fact that it's possible that we have seen the bottom now and that we're not going to come back and test lower down to 48, hit that 0.5, that means it's extremely bullish. That means that bulls are just not selling. Hopefully that hits home, because it's hard to stress that enough, how bullish this is, even though we've seen a 23% pullback. Because some of you are coming into investing, coming into trading for the first time, you're like, 23%? If I invested $1, I just lost 20 cents. Yeah, if you sold and that is a lot, it feels. However, if you don't sell and you buy more, then you're just you're just improving your entry, your cost basis for those of you coming from the stocks and commodities and forex world, right? So this is bullish. It doesn't get much more bullish than this, right? A price, one of the most bullish things, Caleb Franz and I say, is one of the bullish things that you can see on a chart is for it to go higher, to put in higher lows and higher highs, right? That's what you want to see, and that's what we are seeing. Now, are we seeing in the short term, are we seeing lower highs and lower lows? Yes. And that's not what we would want to see if we are buying up here and looking to sell up here, right? If that was your strategy for the late summer, the late spring, then you have failed, right? You have failed as a trader. However, if you are just hodling, buying Bitcoin and hodling it, you are still very much winning, as long as you didn't start your your DCAing back here. But what I would say is, even if you're doing that, you're good. All right, let's go ahead and check out a little bit more here. Let's go look at the oscillator matrix, and I'm glad that I did. Look at this. Is this a slightly higher low here on the hyperwave? I think it is. This is a slightly higher high, slightly higher low, on the hyperwave. Now this last movement higher for Bitcoin brought the hyperwave up above the 50 line on the daily. Now the question is, can this green dot, this reversal dot, be enough to propel the hyperwave back up above and put in a higher high? Even if we have to come back down, right, and remember, testing that 60,000 level is likely, in my opinion, because it's so strong psychologically, is likely. Could we go ahead and do that and put in a higher low? Also, relative to this one back here, could we put in a higher low and see that hyperwave come in? So those are the types of things that I'm looking for here on an oscillator like this. And you can get access to this oscillator by clicking the link in the description for Lux ALGO. It's helped support the channel, and also you're going to get access to the best trading indicator pack that exists today that is known to mankind. All right. And then also here on the daily, this is encouraging. The money flow is starting to go positive. Although it's red, it's starting to go positive. So this can be bullish as well. Histograms, this is good. This is what we want to see. This acceleration to the downside was bearish. Now we're seeing not only the present daily MACD histogram go ahead and decelerate, so meaning come back bullish, show that momentum is breaking for the bears. We are also getting a nice little curve here for the MACD lines. So obviously a very bullish moment in time for Bitcoin. And what I would say is it's bullish, right? I'm feeling optimistic. I'm excited right now looking at this. But what is excitement? It's an emotion, right? We don't want emotions to get involved in our investing and trading. We want to try to eliminate emotion as much as possible. How do you do that? You put lines in the sand. And when those lines are crossed by math, then you make decisions. But you don't make decisions because you're excited, right? It's okay to be excited. It's okay to be fearful and greedy. But what you want to do is put measures in place and risk manage to where that greed and that fear does not end up making you pull the trigger on a sell or a buy order, right? Those sell or buy orders should come in from math, from lines in the sand being crossed or not crossed. All right. Well, I think we've earned our weight in gold here on the charts. We've gotten some good insight. We've got some good levels that we want to watch and see if they reject off of or not. If we can't, then we go back in our groundhog hole and we just wait with our dry powder on the sidelines, and we just wait until we get a lower price. Is it possible now that we don't see 50, we don't see 48? It is more likely now. It's more likely today because we have closed. Because we have moved. I mean, on the 4 hour, I think we've definitely closed back up above this a couple of times. A couple of candles have closed above this downtrending line of now support. So that is bullish, and that kind of tilts the odds in the favor of the bulls, as clearly defined here by the hyperwave closing. I don't know that the hyperwave closes, but getting up above 50, right? even coming down and testing a little lower and then making a resumption to the upside. So this is bullish all around, right? However, that doesn't mean that if you zoom out to the weekly, that there aren't some bearish indicators that are still lingering, right? Including this one, right? Out on the MACD on the weekly, we have a big bear cross, and we also have a red histogram that is printed. Now, that doesn't mean it has to stay this way. We can see periods where there were, momentary histograms that came in and signaled one price direction or the other, and that quickly reversed. So we could see this quickly reverse and move and signal that momentum is in favor of the bulls, but we will just have to wait and see. So we want to have a little bit of salad with our steak there to remain sober-minded, to remain grounded, and not get overly exuberant. All right. Let's go ahead and get into it. Coinbase earnings was great. Really good earnings here from Coinbase. That stock should do pretty well now that today and through the rest of the week, now that the earnings were positive. This is on the stock side. This is not a crypto. Block, same thing. Block shares jump on better than expected first quarter results. I hold Coinbase. I do not hold Block. Telegram. Crypto giant Pantera Capital backs Toncoin and eyes mass adoption through Telegram. Of course, this has been, Toncoin has kind of been a runaway bullish narrative that has really good fundamentals and also pretty decent technical analysis as well. And now they're getting some pretty good pump here from a partnership, right? An investment from Pantera Capital. You can see if I drag it up, there we go, 13.2% to the upside there. And just in general, a sea of green with a couple of different names getting into double-digit gains. Pendle up 10%, Arweave up 16%, and Toncoin up 13.2%, as I just said. Yeah, so not all the names in double digits, right? Really only 3, which should be an indicator to you that it's a bullish moment that could easily end. It's a bullish moment that could get sold. However, what do we have now? What does the market have that we didn't have last week? Certainty about the Fed decision. We got to pause. The markets can recalibrate now around that certainty, around that data point. What else did we get? Well, we got some unemployment data today. Was it great? Not for people, not for employees and laborers, right? However, it's pretty good for investors because it's making the Fed, making Jerome Powell sit there and say, okay, my bias now is definitely towards a cut, not even considering a hike, and it's more likely that we'll see a cut in 2024 because of the unemployment data print we got today. Does that mean that we will get one? Probably not, in my opinion, right? But that's just my opinion. Okay. So there you go. I think things are nice because things are kind of being allowed to be bullish now because Bitcoin has been able to test lower, have that price discovery phase to the downside. I'm on the weekly here, as you can see. That's kind of a nice time frame to analyze what I'm about to say, right? And now Bitcoin has gotten the print from both the Fed. We've got this certainty now from the Fed. We've got it from the unemployment numbers. And wow. We were just short of wicking to that midline of the Bollinger Band there on the weekly. It would have been nice to wick all the way down to 55.6. So, I mean, look, why? Now, why? Why would you say that, T-Shroom? Why would you want Bitcoin to go lower? Just because of price structure, right? It would have been nice to see that. Now, what I will point out here is that previously on the last pullback, no, I wouldn't say this is the last pullback, but on one of the other pullbacks here back in January, mid to late January, this pullback of 21%, look at the proximity of that wick to the midline of the Bollinger Band. That got pretty close, but there was plenty of daylight in between. Right now, as it stands, if this was the bottom here for Bitcoin 56.6, right, then there would be some daylight between the midline of the Bollinger Band, which would be kind of signaling that that buyers and sellers are mimicking the same behavior that they put in back here. And what happened after that? Big move higher, 92%. Goodness gracious. So let's keep it going here. Let's keep it. This is why it was important to hodl all through here. Because if you sold, right, you likely sold for a loss unless you DCA'd way back here. And so it's important to hodl. All right, bros, you know it's important to hodl. Thank you so much for tuning in. Crypto stocks are killing it on the stock side with the earnings. The jobs report came in, and bad news is good news because it's cornering the Fed into having a cut bias, which it already had. So the market is likely going to take this in stride. It'll be interesting to see what the S&P. Well, the S&P is open now. Let's go ahead and take a look at it since we're already here. Yeah, S&P roaring back, up 1.1% to the upside this morning. NASDAQ up 1.6. Dow Jones up 0.62. So this is nice to see. The U.S. equities market is taking these jobs numbers in stride. Again, these are bad numbers for the economy, for the unemployment rate, for laborers, but they are good for investors. Why? Because it takes the pressure off of the Fed to consider hiking and to consider more pauses. It has them have a bias towards cuts, which increases liquidity for markets, which increases the money flow and the flow of velocity of money. And it ends up making valuations of corporations and company projects, crypto projects, more valuable, higher, right? Price go up, to put simply. All right. Well, that's the S&P there for you. Let's look at the S minis. Looks pretty much similar. Cool. I think that's going to do it for us today. Make sure that you are tuning in for the 3 p.m. stream. Yesterday, Tim was not able to join us because of some family issues. He's going to fill everybody in on that today. I believe that's what he told me yesterday, at least. We will let you know on Twitter and in the Discord if anything changes, if Tim isn't going to be able to join us. But I think more than likely, with the situation that happened, he will be joining us. So make sure that you tune in. 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be doing it. We're going to be making it happen. Again, this stream is brought to you by iTrust Capital, who we trust with our crypto tax advantage accounts. Go ahead and set up your account today and get free $100 towards your investment, maybe your first investment into crypto. You have everything to gain and nothing to lose, bros. It is such a pleasure to bring this information to you today. Bitcoin making its move to the upside. Is this the move that gets us back to all-time highs? It could be. Join us at 3 to see just how much glee there can be for the bros. All right. If you're trading, keep those stop losses tight. And if you're human, stay hydrated.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.